Anthony Malloy, the big man from our draft, leads Donegal, the first Donegal team ever to appear in an All-Ireland senior final, out onto Croke Park.
Ryan Bradley's going to run outside him, but Lacey goes inside. Good play by Carl Lacey. Ryan Bradley's continued his run. He launches the ball across here. But Murphy has it. Michael Murphy with a chance. Oh, what a goal by Michael Murphy! Oh, what a finish, Declan!
What a superb ball in by Carl Lacey. What a finish by Michael Murphy. We spoke about Michael Murphy. We said it was a big match in it. 2 minutes and 30 seconds gone.
Listen, Jim, we spoke to you beforehand, but I mean, what an occasion here. Couldn't have went any better, could it?
Oh, excellent, Charlie, absolutely excellent. And you know, the kids get to see all the players and, you know, both sides and so many legends and everything else. They have a stacked team as well, by the way.
Jason, what a welcome for you here in Stranraer, Ballybofane, here at the Finn Valley Centre. But I suppose we shouldn't have expected anything else after what you achieved over there.
Yeah, you know, it's at the time it can be disappointing, you know, but whenever you come back and see a turnout like this here and just come back to your family and everyone, you know, it's makes everything a lot worthwhile.
When I was with DCR, there's a guy called Dan Murtagh was the manager. Big Dan's, we called him. He's a nephew of Big Tom's. And I went down for an interview with him to get the sports job, and he basically said, go ahead, whatever you want to do, type of thing. But after doing a game one Sunday, I came in on the Monday and Dan said, I was listening to you yesterday, you corrected yourself a few times. I says, did I give the wrong names? And who noticed that you gave the wrong names? Sure, nobody would have known unless you told them. Don't do that again. I said, oh, that's good advice. So fast forward to Highland Radio, and I was commentating with a certain Mr. McHugh one day, who's a bit pernickety and a bit, you know, perfect, as they say. And I gave the wrong name, and he pointed at the programme to the right name. So I commentated away, and I did the same again, and he pointed again. So at half time I said to him, you were pointing there, what are you pointing about? Can you remember what you said to me?
I was just trying to keep you right, Charlie.
I'm trying to keep you right. You gave the wrong name a couple of times. And I said, well, who noticed? And he says, what do you mean? I said, well, who saw except yourself, like, you know? But anyway, as you would know, knowing Martin McHugh, he was going to have the last word. So about 2 months later, my office door burst open, and he walked in and he said, you better be on your P's and Q's this day, on Sunday, boy. I says, why is that? TG Cahir's doing the game. Everybody will see your mistakes. So I never made a mistake after that.
Very good, very good.
It was good days. Good days.
What's your favourite memory of this man?
My enjoyable memories was travelling in the car. That was the big ones we had.
The private memories.
Going to the games in the car with Michael McGee and Packy Keeney and myself and Charlie, and we had great time stopping for and a bit of crack and a bit of fun. There was a lot of the stuff we couldn't repeat, Charlie.
No, could not.
Leave it as it was, but
we could not.
We had good old crack. There were plenty of things discussed and everything else at that time, but we had great old crack. But I listened to me, like I worked with a lot of people, and I would have to say he's the best commentator ever I worked with, and that's on GA, and there's no doubt about that, the best ever I worked with, and brilliant. And I'll tell you, when he's after telling the story, he didn't get many names wrong. He never got many names wrong on that there, and he was an unbelievable commentator. And you know, what I always found I suppose Neil Murphy was the other one, and the great thing about these commentators like Charlie and Neil Murphy was they made the game, even though it was a poor match and not on radio, they made it sound like a great game. And that was brilliant. That was a quality, a talent is right, Stephen, in itself. So Charlie had that talent, so I enjoyed that. I got a chance to work with Charlie, and we worked very well together, you know, and everything else. You know, we got on well, and we knocked off each other great, Charlie.
We did, Martin.
We had and we had some great days and brilliant days, and suppose enjoyable days and everything else. And you know,
I was just saying earlier there, Martin, we had great days, but we had disappointing days as well. And unfortunately, that's part of it, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's not always going to be good.
Yeah. So that's sport. sport. You know, the thing
exactly.
is about sport. We take the good with the bad, but sure, suppose from the point of view of Donegal, at times when I was starting to play with Donegal, we didn't expect to win one All Ireland, and when we won one All Ireland, we never thought we'd see another one. Because I always remember after the All Ireland we won, and you know, people saying that, Charlie, they'll die happy now, the fact that Donegal won All Ireland, you know, and that's what everybody was saying. I couldn't believe it, the amount of people said that, and I never thought that we'd see, you know, one another All Ireland. So look, it's been great times, and so, you know, Charlie has been the voice of Donegal GAA. In Donegal, and he was the voice of it, and I mean, many people have said that since suppose the retirement was announced and everything else. The amount of people that said that, it's unbelievable, and I would totally agree with every word of that there. You know, it was his commentary helped GAA in Donegal, helped it all over, from going up to his own and different people, you know, and everything else, talking about Charlie Collins in your commentary, and people have been on so much about it, about, you know, I was the sideshow with it and everything else, but he was the man doing the commentary, and it was brilliant.
Donegal are the All-Ireland champions for 1992. They won it for the first time. There's a new name on the title. It's that of Donegal. 18 points to 14. Donegal men are on their feet in front of us. The Keaney brothers, Packy and Kieran to my left, who have both played for the county, are hugging one another. Michael McGee, it's a great moment.
I'm glad that he's a good friend of mine as well. To the bargain, which is great.
Yeah, the thing, Martin, that probably a lot of people interviewing players and managers definitely don't have now, but going back even to your playing day, and now your two sons have had it. He had the trust, and people had real respect for him after games, didn't they?
It's funny you say that, Chris, and I suppose the biggest man is Jim McGuinness, who always trusted this man, and I mean that's a quality in itself, that he had that trust, you know, in Charlie. You know what I mean? I can only talk for myself, but I mean, you're exactly right. The players, everybody knew Charlie, like Charlie, and you know, he was very fair, very, very fair to everybody, and he realised that, you know, suppose he played at a level himself and everything else, and he realised what it was about, and especially, as he said, when we got beat, he understood it great, and he you know, asked the right questions on the right thing, but that's the quality in the man that was there in the man, you know, and he knew exactly how people were feeling and what they were, and you know, so trust was a big thing, and as I said, Jim McGuinness, you know, as he is, he trusted Charlie. You know?
Says a lot.
On a lighter note, Martin, how do you think the referees will remember him? Or is that an old common question?
I was wondering how many of them's coming on Friday night. Oh, Jesus, It was local radio, and the important thing about local radio, I remember hearing a fellow didn't know. I was down in Meath somewhere, and there was a boy. I met him down in Meath somewhere, and he didn't know that he didn't know me or say such, but he didn't know that I was on the radio with Charlie. And he says, "I was up in Donegal there the weekend. I was listening to local radio, and he says the commentators. He says, it was great crack listening to them. All they done was give out about the referee, and they giving out about the referee. And he said, you think there's only one team playing?" And I just said, "That's local radio. That's what it's all about."
Yeah. I'll take that a step further, Martin. The famous story, I don't know if you told it or somebody else. St Eunan's were playing Airua Ballyshannon in a county final, and I think it was me and you were doing the commentary for Highland, but Fonzie Travers, and I'm not sure who was doing the commentary for Ocean FM. And during the week somebody met somebody in Killybegs who was able to hear both commentaries. And when you listen to the game, I had Travers on in the kitchen and I had Collins on in the sitting room, and the only way you know they were at the same match, both of them were in Ballybofey. So we would have biased on with it.
The character, you have to talk about the character. Like he was well liked, and he knew his role and researched his role all the time. Did the job really well. I suppose, as everyone says, every dog has their day. We'll all be retired, and most of us are half retired at this stage anyway. But we still love coming to the games, and I'm sure Charlie will still be at the big games, and probably will enjoy it just as much as a spectator. You wouldn't want to be anywhere else anywhere, and sort of, if you're getting paid for coming to do something like this, it's even better. And like you get, there are some perks attached to the job, which are good, and Charlie probably has enjoyed them over the years, and like he deserved them all and deserves anything else he gets as well.
Unlike me, Charlie is an absolute gentleman, and I suppose the first time I ever encountered him would have been in the early 90s, when I used to listen to himself and Micheál McGee, who was a very colourful, charismatic co-commentator. Charlie was the straight man and Micheál was the guy who come from the left field, and they were a great team together. And secondly, I remember himself and Martin McHugh, and Charlie has that calm, measured voice, but he can inject in excitement when it's needed. And McHugh has a wonderful manic quality to him. The passion, the enthusiasm, and they were a great double act. And I suppose those would be the two earliest memories that I have. I know he's a great soccer man as well. And I had the opportunity to interview him for a series that we were doing in the Donegal Post called the Local Legends. And listening to Charlie, it was like a social history of the GAA in Donegal and of local radio. And previous to that, he was a psychiatric nurse. So he's had a very varied and very eclectic career, which I suppose suited for journalism. And not forgetting, Radis, the fact that he does so much voluntary work for the GAA, far more than any of the rest of us. He's always available to the Donegal County Board to do presentations, to do MC, and he's going to be working here again today. And that's, you know, people talk a lot about volunteerism and the rest of us being in for money and stuff like that. Charlie has that spirit, that, you know, and that's quite remarkable too.
And have you any funny stories about Charlie? Plenty of funny ones about you.
He has. No, funny. All I can say about Charlie is that whenever I'm making a smart remark to Charlie, I'd want to have it very well thought out, because by Christ, he is lightning with the one-liners. He knock you back very straight left, and he does it so diplomatically. He has a way. He brings people together, and he always has the crack when he's interviewing guys or county final. He can make them relax, but then he's got the time, and then he'll throw in the question with a bit of humour, and that's, you know, that's Charlie for me.
Got to know Charlie well over the last decade or so, like, and he was always very friendly and very helpful to us all. Just a really nice way about him, a very disarming way. You know, you'd very rarely hear him falling out with, you know, different teams or managers and different officials, and, you know, there are certain other people in the press box not too far away from me here that maybe would do it a little bit more often.
I have nothing but good memories, and to be honest with you, I was taken aback when I heard that Charlie was taking a step back. What a man for sport in Donegal. I got to know him through the GAA when I came in as a young journalist. First of all, I had Seamus McGeady to guide me, and yet people like Peter Campbell and people like Charlie Collins were there. But then, unfortunately, when Seamus passed away, he was a big loss to me personally for that guidance and support. But Charlie was always there, along with Peter Campbell and people like that, to always guide me and help me along. I remember days maybe in Kilcar, or me not knowing as many coaches or managers or players at that time, but Charlie was always so helpful, no matter where or when. He was always at the end of the line for advice or help whenever needed. So Charlie will be sadly missed. Thankfully, he can go now and enjoy his life in a good way and step back from sport. A lot of people didn't get that opportunity to retire. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of people too young from the press box over the last few years. So I wish Charlie nothing but all the best. I hope that he enjoys his retirement now. As I said, he's very lucky to have that opportunity to take a step back. But again, I would like to thank Charlie for everything and all the advice he ever gave me and all the support down through the years. So, more Charlie, bang sultas the síranis agus is looking go meart amagad le bheith gimmert golf agus gan brewer beart a bheith le herig na cluichi ag Jeru Shartian.
So Charlie, 40 years plus done on Donegal media. What a wonderful career. Congratulations. And I've been privileged, like a few others, to be part of that journey at some stage or another. At 16 years of age, you took me under your wing in Highland. I was a work experience transition year student from St Eunice College in Letterkenny, and I had an interest in radio because it came off the back of listening to you at your time at DCR and the early days of Highland Radio as well. So you took me under your wing, you were my manager, my boss, and my mentor, and you showed me the ropes in Highland, how the sports department worked, and you opened other doors as well, Charlie, so I'm very, very grateful for that. But there's some fantastic memories that we had during your 20 years plus in Highland, and obviously one of those is the 2012 run to the All-Ireland final, where Donegal lifted that Sam Maguire under Jim McGuinness. Fantastic time. Can't forget about the rallying days either. Two Burma men, Seamus McGettigan sitting alongside you. You took me in the back seat of the Highland cars and drove me around the roads of Donegal, and I learned a lot in Highland, but I learned a lot on those journeys as well. So some fantastic memories, Charlie, and things that won't be forgotten, and you had a wonderful career, and again, I appreciate everything that you done for me during my career when you were here in Highland. So many congratulations again. Well done on an outstanding career. It was immense, so it was, your contribution to sport in Donegal in the media circle. And all we can do, from everyone here in Highland and from myself as well, is say best wishes on your retirement.
What would be your favourite memory from over the years, Shelley?
I suppose, Stephen, I've thought about this when we were organising or looking at doing this. What was the best moments? And I keep going back to '92. Donegal won in the All-Ireland. Maybe probably because it was the first, and because it was the first, it maybe was a bit unexpected as well. It was kind of a golden era, that period. Donegal won 5 Ulster finals in a row and won a couple of Ulster titles, but winning the All-Ireland was just a dream come true. And one of the big things for me that day was my dad and mum were there at the game, and he played for Donegal 40 years earlier in Croke Park in 1952, and he was like a child afterwards, as were, I suppose, many Donegal people. And after the game, meeting people, it was just a thrill. But that keeps jumping up at me when people ask me what's the best moment. Now, there've been other fantastic moments, but you got to remember we had to wait 19 years for another Ulster title and 20 years for another All-Ireland. So that was exciting because it was so far away. It wasn't as if we were winning them regularly like other counties. But '92 and that group of lads to this day, I have a great time for them all. I like to think I have a great relationship with them all. But what they did that day meant so much to everybody. I'd have to put it right up there at the top of the list, for sure.
And in relation to not just outside of sport as well, would you have one of your saddest moments from covering events in Donegal, not just sport but news as well?
I suppose the saddest of all, Stephen, is Manus Kelly's tragic death in the rally. That for me, during my long career, was the saddest thing. There was other things happened, but that, because I knew Manus so well, I grew up beside his mum, up in the Burma in Ardledon and Letterkenny, and for that to happen, given what had happened in the previous 4 years, with Manus and Donald winning the national title and then winning the international 3 in a row, and for him to lose his life that way, it just, sport is brilliant, but it can be very cruel. That was one of the cruelest moments ever. And to this day, there's times, I'd ask myself, why did that happen? Because everything was going so well for Manus in his personal life, in his business life, and in his rallying, and then all of a sudden, it's all taken away. So that's, without a shadow of a doubt, that for me is the saddest thing that has happened, and the saddest thing. I'll never forget that afternoon down in the bottom of Atlantic Drive, and I was out of the car, and when I came back to the car, there was 2 missed calls from Oisin Kelly, and I knew immediately there was something wrong, and the word was that Manus had been in an accident, and it was serious. And I remember driving back to Letterkenny, and I drove in first to the service in Milford. I don't know why, but just my head was all over the place. And getting back, went out to Kelly's house. Tough. It was tough, Steve.
Still tough, too.
Still tough. Still very tough. And you have this situation where there's an expectation of you, and you get after-match reaction from people, and they ask certain questions and all that. But you can't lose the trust of people, Chris. You can ask the hard questions, but if people start to think that you're trying to put them in a spot or undermine them or show them up, that relationship's going to end. Rightly so. But I think, and I've often said this as well, and I'll say it now when I'm going, The media in Donegal are probably the best in the country, and what must be remembered about them is all of them, or at least the vast majority of them, are supporters as well as reporters. But there are certain things where you have to report that's not going to please everybody, and if you're doing your job properly, you have to do that. You have to ask that question, you have to ask, but if you ask it with respect and that person doesn't think this guy's trying to show me up or whatever, I think you'll get along. But there'll always be difficulties, Chris, and we've experienced them over the years, like, you know. I mean, the last thing I'd want if I was a player who was after getting a hammer and somebody coming along with a microphone, sticking it in my face, saying, can you say a few words? But 99% of the time, people respond positively to us, so we're able to do our job. And long may that continue. I'd hate to see the relationship, you know, weakened or soured, because we need those people. But I think they need us because the general public expect us to get the answers and to report on things that are happening. And, you know, we've got to take that responsibility very seriously. Again, I think I said this to Ryan Ferry one time, the job didn't pick us, like, we picked the job. And it's not always going to be a bed of roses. Hope for a few more ones here and there, maybe along the way, but as I said there this evening, you've got to take the highs and the lows, Chris, and you know that. I mean, you've been involved long enough. I suppose, I was going to say this on Friday night, but I'll say it now. Myself and yourself were up at Finn Park there for the last league game, and you asked me when I started in DCR, and I said 1986, and you said back to me, that's the year I was born. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm making the right decision here. Because as Miles Gallagher famously said one time with Kay Byrne, you're no spring chicken now either, like, you know. But listen, Chris, you've been there with me for a long time, and we've shared many a press box and many a trip in a car back. I remember you as a young reporter, a novice in it, ringing me looking for a lift to Ballyshannon, collecting you in Ballybofey, and I remember thinking, this lad's going to go well, he's going to be good at this job, because your enthusiasm was there, you could see it.
If you look back, Charlie, in terms of like almost 40 years of broadcasting and telling stories about teams and people, and what do you miss most about it all?
Good question, Chris. I suppose the first thing you miss if you're a sports person is playing. And I remember the late Liam Blake telling me many years ago, play for as long as you can, because nothing will replace it. And that's a fact, like. Funny, Neil Gallagher said that to me at a recent under-21 game where Glen Sully had a victory over 4 Masters. He's managing the team, but nothing replaces playing, and that's a fact. There's nothing like the thrill of playing with the guys that you grew up with and sharing those moments with them, the good and the bad, the successful and the disappointments. But for me to have had so long, and I often said this, and I said it to Stephen in the past, working my hobby, because sport's your hobby. And I came out of a home with a father that played for Donegal, and he played for Derry City, and he played for Sligo Rovers. So sport was huge in our home from we were small boys, myself and Liam and Martin. And to get an opportunity to work in it for as long as I have, and enjoy it as much as I have, you can't get much better, Chris, you know. You can't get much better.
You'd do it all over again if you
I'd do it all over again, without a question or a doubt. There's no doubt whatsoever, I'd do it all over again.
"15 Donegal men representing the county. There will be more off the bench, but these guys have the honour and the privilege of representing the whole of our county here in the All-Ireland final. And I can say, Declan, without fear of contradiction, no group of young men deserve it more." All we need now is Jimmy's winning matches. All we need to hear is Jimmy winning matches. I see the county chairman, PG McGowan, hugging Jim McGuinness down there. What a time. There they are on the big screen. The chairman and the manager. Absolutely. Adrian Hanlon from the Donegal club getting the hug there. The substitutes as well. It's just an incredible moment. Well, what a moment to be a Donegal man at Croke Park. Oh, God almighty, it's unbelievable scenes here. I wish you all could be here to see it. I wish you could be here to see this. The green and gold of our county, Donegal, taking over Croke Park here, and there's more than 15,000 of them in here. I can tell you that, Declan.